Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Automation Testing Insider. So this is part 29 of Selenium Framework Development series from scratch, and in the previous part we have seen how to run our script using Selenium Grid, right? Now today we'll focus on how we're going to enhance our framework, and we are going to use Docker to run our application, to run our script, right? So this is the topic for today. So introduction to Docker and how we are going to run our Selenium test using Docker containers. So let's have a look at the agenda for today. So we're going to talk about what is Docker. We'll understand first what is Docker and why we use Docker in Selenium or Selenium Grid, right? So basically we're going to use a Docker using Selenium Grid only, right? So I'll show you how we are going to use that, and we'll talk about a couple of things which are important in Docker when we talk about Docker. So Docker containers and Docker images, we'll discuss about it, and I'll show you the installation and setup of Docker, and at last I'll show you how we're going to integrate our framework with Docker. So this is what we're going to discuss today. Now let's talk about the first topic, what is Docker. So if we talk about the meaning of the word Docker, right? So Docker basically it's a labor, or I would say it's a worker who works at port, right, to loads and unloads the containers, right? So that's why we can, it's an isolated environment. If you talk about in computer language, it's an isolated environment, right? So we can easily relate with the real meaning of Docker. So that's why if you see the image of Docker, right, so it looks like this. There is a sheep which contains different containers. You can see inside it it's a sheep, or maybe like whale, right? You can see. So that's why we can that's why the name comes like Docker. So basically if you talk about the real definition of Docker, like what is the meaning of Docker. So Docker is a platform that helps you to build ship and run applications in an isolated environment called containers. So there are two things when we talk about Dockers: images and containers, right? So basically images is nothing but the blueprint, and containers is an object, right? So it makes easier to develop, test and deploy applications quickly and reliably across different systems. So let's say we build a framework, Selenium framework, right? Now we want to test that, we want to execute our script in a separate environment or anywhere if you want, right? So how to execute it? So there are like we need certain applications using which we develop our framework, right? So we need like Selenium, so let's say Selenium 4. We need Java application, we need Maven, we need Chrome driver, just for an example, right? We need these applications to run our script. So when we use this Docker, right, so we don't need to install them separately. Basically it the containers will it contains all these applications, like the images will contain all these applications and build the environment for us. So it makes easier to develop, test and deploy applications quickly and reliably across different systems. It supports distributed testing. So what is the purpose of using Docker, right? So it helps us to test the application on like different environment, right, for cross-browser testing, and I would say the parallel testing also, helping reduce overall test execution time. So that is the benefits of Docker, using Docker. Docker allows you to package your application along with everything it needs, like libraries, dependencies, environment variable, into a single unit called container, right? So why we use Docker in Selenium? So we mainly use Docker for the following advanced use cases in Selenium. So Selenium Grid with Docker. So to use Selenium Grid with Docker for parallel execution and cross-browser testing. and CI/CD integration, continuous integration and continuous deployment. If you are going to use Jenkins or TeamCity or any CI/CD tools, it will be really useful, right, when we use Docker. Containerized test execution, scaling and isolation to scale up your framework in a next level. And as we discussed, how we are going to use in an isolated environment. So these are the main things, like use cases. That's the reason we use Docker in Selenium. Now if you talk about Docker containers and images, what do you mean by Docker containers and Docker images? So Docker image is like a blueprint or a snapshot of an application and its dependencies, right? So basically you can say it's a class is having everything, right? So I have given an example over here. Think of it's a recipe. Let's say we are going to make a chocolate recipe. I would say we are baking a cake, right? So it's a recipe. Docker image is basically a recipe. So it includes OS, tools, Java, Chrome, libraries, right? So basically Docker image contains everything like operating system, tools, libraries, correct, all the applications, correct. And another thing is Docker container. So when we can say it's a recipe, so recipe will contain everything, right? What are the ingredients and what are the steps, right, to bake the cake, correct. And if you talk about Docker container, it's a running instance of a Docker image. So this is nothing but the object, correct. So we have created the images like recipe, and how we are going to execute that. So basically Docker container is like how actually we are baking the cake. So it's a running instance of Docker image. Think of it like baking a cake from recipe from the above image, right? And the cake is the container. You can have multiple containers from the same image. So with same recipe we can create different, like little bit, there will be little bit changes. Like let's say we want different flavors, so we can create different flavors. Like let's say we want vanilla. We have created the recipe for chocolate, and we can create different little bit changes, like we can create different flavors like vanilla, strawberry, or any other flavors, right, using the same image. So in the similar way we can create different instances of the same image. So this will be the next video, guys. Anyway, I'll going to explain first the Docker, and later on we'll use Docker Compose in the next video, right? So now let's talk about how we are going to use Docker in our framework, right? Installation and setup. So I have created a separate document as well, Docker for Selenium Grid, and how we are going to run tests using containers. And here I have given some theoretical stuff as well. You can go through it. So how we are going to install Docker, that is the first thing, right? And install Docker desktop on your system. Using this link you can download it. So I have created very good documentation here, so you need to just follow it, and you can create you can install this Docker desktop on your system. So you need to just follow step by step. You will get Docker desktop installer, and you need to just install that. You can see 438 version I'm using right now. Maybe I think it's been a little bit like it's been long time, I think 3-4 months when I have installed this, but you can use the latest version. And here you can see you need to just select everything like this, and Docker installed successfully, right? You need to just follow this process. So it looks like this once you install the Docker, and you will get the icon over here, the shortcut, and you need to just click on that, and you will get like this. After successful Docker installation, run the below commands. If no errors, that means your Docker is running successfully, right? So if you remember, last time we used Selenium Grid, right? So instead of let me show you how we have done that, right? So we use Selenium Grid last time. So we had to start the hub and nodes, right? We have created the hub and node. So how we have done that? So this is how we have done. Java and jar. So this is how we have created the socket, like Selenium hub, Selenium. So that will be localhost 4444, right? And how we have started the nodes, how we have, so you can see Selenium Grid is started. The grid has no registered nodes yet, right? So how to connect with nodes? So we have to install the Selenium server, right? From there we can create a Selenium hub and Selenium nodes. So how to start nodes? Over here, java-jar space tab, and here node -port 5555. So you can see it will create different nodes over here, like all the nodes, Chrome, Edge, and Firefox, right? So this is what we have seen in the previous video, how we have created the hub and nodes, how to connect to the nodes as part of Selenium Grid. Now no need to do this. We are going to do this using a Docker, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply close this and close this as well. So you'll see this will be gone, right? It will take a while. Now you can see Selenium Grid failed to fetch, right? Now what we are going to do, we need to just follow this documentation. After successful Docker installation, run the below commands. If no errors, means Docker is running successfully. So to know the Docker version which I have installed, so simply type cmd, and you can see here Docker simple command version -version. You can see the Docker version over here, and whether our services is running successfully or not. So you can see Docker ps, you can see there are no errors, right? So that means it is successfully installed and there are no errors. Now what we need to do, so we need to create hubs and nodes here as well. So how we are going to do that? So the latest version of Selenium is 434, right? So simply we need to do like this. So we need to write the command docker, right? You can see full Selenium and hub and colon, what is the version? 434.0. so this will pulls the latest version of Selenium, right? It creates hub. So simply put enter and it will download. And here you will see, guys, this is our Docker, and once it installed downloads, then you will see over here in the images. So first we'll create the image, all the images like hub and nodes, and later on we'll create the instance of those images, right? So it will take a while to install, and later on what we'll do after this, we'll install different nodes as well, because we are going to run our script on different browsers, right? Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. So simply we use like this command. So now it is done. You can see downloaded newer image for Selenium. So you can see here, you can see it has been downloaded here. To tag the name which we have given 434, and this image ID 5 days ago created, like it was, the version was there for 5 days ago, and some like size is there, so it installed here, the image has been installed, right, which contains all the application. And container is nothing but the instance which we are going to create to run our application. Now what is the next thing? Let's copy this and install that one as well, like download that. So it will create the node for Chrome browser. So it will download like this. You can use, instead of latest, you can use like instead of 4.34.0, instead of that you can use latest as well. So it will download the latest version, and this is the name of the image, right? Similarly we'll do it for Firefox, and subsequently we'll do it for Edge browser as well. And we need to create the network. So the network name here we have given Selenium Grid. So this is the command for to create a network, Docker network create Selenium Grid. These are the commands for pulling the required images for Docker. So it is done in a while. Yeah, it's done. So you can see inside Docker node, Chrome node, right? Now what we'll do for Firefox, let's download it, and at last we'll do it for, yeah, it will take a while, and at last for Edge as well. Now you can see there is nothing inside containers, right? So we need to create the instances of those images which we have created. So it is done, and here you can see as well for Firefox, right? Similarly we'll do it for Edge. And after that we need to create a network, Selenium Grid network, and we need to run that container. So how to connect or how to run a container, right? So this is a simple command which we have, docker run -d -p on this, like already we have this 4444 localhost, right? On that port it will run. To connect a network we need to write the command like this, and we have to give the name of the hub, and what is the, from which image which we are creating, right? So this is the image which we have created on top, like here you can see. So simply what we can do, we can, I think network will be there, I have already created earlier. So now you can see all the four, one is hub, all the four images you can see here. Now let me do this. So here you can see error response from daemon network with Selenium Grid already exists. So network is already there. So in your case guys, if you do the first time, you'll see, you don't see this message, right? Now what we'll do, we'll run this command, this one, this run command, and simply let's run this command. Yeah, so what it does, it will create the instance. You can see it is running, and inside the containers you can see the instance has been started. And if you fire this URL, you'll see Selenium Grid already over here, right? 4.34.0 you can see over here, and the grid has no registered nodes yet. Now we need to connect all the nodes over here, right? So how to do it? So we have these commands. So basically we are going to use the same run command, and there are some certain parameters we need to give, like the size, right? 2 GB size we are going to use to run the instance of all the, like for that instance Chrome, for hub from for Chrome node, right? And simply -network Selenium Grid, the name of of our network, and these are certain parameters, other things which we need to give, like the event bus host, the Selenium hub, it connects to the hub, and this is the port 42 and 43, and session 1 and instance 1. So based on how many instances you require, you can put it over here. So simply, and this is the name of our hub, the image which we have created on top, this is the same name which we have given over here, right? So simply copy this command and let's execute it. So you can see the instance will be started for Selenium Chrome node as well. Similarly, what I'll do, I'll copy this one as well for Firefox, and you can see the instance of this will be started for Firefox node, and at last for Edge as well. So I have changed the instances, guys, the sessions and instances I have changed over here. And if you fire here, you can see a couple of nodes are created over here, right? You can see this is Chrome and this is Firefox. Now let's do it for Grid as well. Now you can see all the nodes are started, instance of all the nodes, all the images, right? And here you can see the Edge node is also started, and we have given different concurrency like 1, 2 and 4 based on our how many test cases we have. So based on our running session, it will give the number over here. Now what we are going to do, verify Selenium hub and nodes are running. You can see using this image, right? Here you can see actually those are running. Now changes in the framework code. So what are the changes we made in our code? So there are two things, guys. You can, if you remember, we are running our Orange HRM application on localhost, right? So what we need to do, because see here I have written the scenarios like site, if site is hosted online, then we can simply use the URL which we have for the open source for the Orange HRM, right? So public site accessible from anywhere, but since we have hosted the Orange HRM locally, we need a separate URL like this. So these are the changes we made in our framework, because we are going to use localhost Orange HRM, right? We have already hosted using exam control panel, right? Where we have started our MySQL and Apache, because we have hosted the Orange HRM application locally. This one also, if you haven't watched the video, then you can go back and you can see in the playlist, right, how we have hosted the Orange HRM application locally. So you can see we can run the application like this. So we need to add here like host.docker.internal, right? Like this, you need to create the URL. So that's what here I have given. Like we need to make the changes in the config.properties file. So let me open in Eclipse the framework. This is the framework which we have created, and where we have, I already made the changes because those are very minimal changes from the previous video, like not much changes are required. So where we have what we need, resources, config.properties, right? So here we have, this is, so I used few parameters over here like URL base. This is the base URL, the original application, and here we have the local where we have hosted our Orange HRM application. And since we are going to use Selenium Grid using Docker, so we need to use this URL, correct? And similarly in the base class also I made the changes, because we are going to use that URL, right, when we use the grid. And I think last time I have explained this. We have given one parameter over here, Selenium Grid. So if you want to run it locally, then you need to just mark it as false. If you want to run in Selenium Grid, using Selenium Grid or Selenium Grid using Docker, you can just put it like true over here, and you can see base class where the changes I have made. So you can see in the config browser method, so here you can see the changes, like if Selenium Grid, if you are using the Selenium Grid, then we are going to get the URL from this parameter URL grid from the config.properties, right? So this URL which we are going to use when we use the grid. So these are the two, like, couple of changes which I made. Apart from that, all things are same from the previous video. So this is config.properties and base class.java. I put it over here, the class. Anyway, I already pushed the changes to my GitHub, and I'll provide the link in the description box of this video as well, and I'll give the document link as well, guys. The Docker setup final which I have created here, the document, I'll give the download link as well, which I am going to upload in our ATI Digital Hub website. So this is done, and what we need to do, simply we need to run the application using Docker. So I need to open the TestNG.xml. Here we are going to use parallel is equal to test, and we have created different tests based on the browser, Chrome, Edge and Firefox, and we have given our all the test classes over here, right? So let me just run it and we'll see how it executes, right? So right now you can see no 0 out of 7 test cases. So right click and run as TestNG suite. You can see it has started, right? You can see 14% concurrency, like right now 2 test cases are running, and here also you can see the test cases started. You can see a remote WebDriver, right? Remote WebDriver instance created for grid. So it will execute all the test cases, the 7 test cases which we have as part of our framework. Let's see how it executes other test cases. Now you can see all the 7 test cases, 7 passes, failure 0, right? And here also you can see all are done, right? Now you can see 0 of 7 instances or concurrency. And if I see the report, so just refresh the project and extend report. Here you can see open with browser. You can see today's date 23rd of July, and you can see all the test cases executed successfully over here. Let me open some screenshot. You can see it executes all the test cases successfully. So this is how you can use Docker in Selenium, and you can create different images, and corresponding you can use the containers. So this we have done manually, right? We have pulled all the images manually over here using the command, and we have created the different instances over here, right? And that's how we did today. But later on what we are going to do, we'll integrate with CI/CD, right? So in the next video we are going to use Docker Compose, and we are going to use Jenkins pipeline, how we are going to do that, right? So that will be probably the last video of this series. So we have done everything, guys, about the Docker. So let me know if you have any questions related to Docker, and you can play around this application, how we are going to create different images and containers. And we have terminal over here. You can write the direct commands from here. We have used command prompt from here, right? Outside you can use it from here as well. And you can anytime you can stop this containers as well from here. We have different buttons over here, and you can delete it, and you can, by using the commands, you can get it back as well. So this is all for today. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.